You ever have one of those weeks where you wake up and realize the whole world's lined up against you? That was me, standing on my own lawn, holding a mug of cheap coffee, while the HOA president, Pamela, the kind of woman who thinks her clipboard is a scepter, smirks at my late wife's boat like it's a dead raccoon. She tells me, right to my face, that hope floats. The little cabin cruiser Sarah named wasn't just an eyesore, it was a threat to her kingdom, and she'd slap a $150 fine on me every day I refused to move it. If I didn't pay, she'd put a lien on my house. Her voice echoed in my chest, cold as a dentist's drill. You know what I mean? That's how it started. Pamela sticking violation signs on my dock, spinning up the neighbors, sending out newsletters about preserving property values. All the while, she never once checked the actual deed to see who owned what. See, I wasn't just some stubborn old vet who refused to play along. I was a retired Navy engineer, and when you spend decades in the service, you learn a thing or two about paperwork, systems, and not blinking first. Let me back up a sec. The lake, our lake, wasn't some man-made pond ringed by mansions. It was a slow blue bowl tucked behind a windbreak of pines, the kind of place my wife used to escape to when chemo made everything else too much. She'd sit in her chair, even wrapped in a blanket in July, just watching the light skip across the water. That boat, Hope Floats, was nothing fancy. An old, slow tank of a cruiser. I'd spent more time fixing her up than actually drifting out, but every bolt in that hull felt like another memory. I'd painted the name on myself, trying to match Sarah's garden label handwriting, shaky as I was. But you don't get to keep memories without a fight, not in a place like this. Pamela must have practiced her frown in the mirror, the way she looked at my boat from her SUV, heels sinking into my grass like she was claiming new land for the crown. It disrupts the shoreline's visual uniformity, she said, like she was quoting the Bible, only it was a bylaw she'd made up that morning. 7.4, she called it, even though I knew the rules didn't say a damn thing about boats or aesthetics. I'd read every line when I bought this place. I told her, that's not in the bylaws. She just smiled thin and handed me a violation anyway. Emails, calls, certified letters, all ignored or bounced back. Then came the fines, backdated, already over $2,000, and a warning, pay up or lose your house. I just stood on the dock, letter crumpled in my fist, staring out at the water. You ever feel that slow, cold focus settle in, like before a big storm? That's where I was. Pamela thought she was picking on some crank. She had no clue she'd poked a man who spent half his life diving salvage jobs, fixing broken systems, finding the weak link. Next day, my neighbor Roy called. Vietnam vet, nothing rattles him, but even he sounded shaken. Tom, check your email, the queen bee's gone public. There it was, a neighborhood blast, a picture of Hope Floats from 100 yards away, called it unauthorized mortgage, and warned the whole neighborhood about declining property values. She didn't use my name, just Lot 18. Classic move, turn the herd, make you the outcast. And it worked. Neighbors looked away when I passed. Old friends stopped waving. Fear spreads quiet, you know? Maya, my daughter, called that night. Dad, just sell the boat. It's not worth the fight. She meant well. But that boat was the last thing Sarah touched that still floated, and I wasn't about to let a bully rewrite our story. It's not about the boat, honey. It's about letting someone like that win. She sighed, long and heavy. Just be careful, Dad. That hurt more than Pamela's fines. So I got to work, old habit. Called the State Water Commission, waded through bureaucracy until I found out something Pamela never thought to check. The HOA didn't own the lake. In fact, nobody did. It was supposed to go to the county after the developer dissolved, but the paperwork never happened. The whole lakebed was, legally, an orphan, a crack in the armor. The next day, 2 laminated violation signs zip-tied to my dock. Public shaming, scarlet letter stuff. Facebook blew up, courtesy of Pamela, with my boat circled in red. Then I noticed a sedan creeping by, snapping photos of my house, my yard, my dock. The message was clear, you're being watched. That's when I stopped playing defense. Drove to the county records office, spent hours digging through microfilm until I found it. The developer dissolved, the lake left in limbo. Took my notes to a real estate attorney. When I finished, he actually smiled. They built a house of cards on land they never owned. We started filing paperwork to claim the lakebed, leveraging old statutes about abandoned property. It was a long shot, But the law was clear. Unclaimed, untaxed land can be claimed. While my attorney worked the system, Pamela went full war mode. Certified letters, threats of liens. Then, one afternoon, a tow truck rumbled down my drive, Pamela in tow, along with her legal muscle and security chief, Mike, who looked like a mall cop in a tactical vest. "We're impounding the nuisance vessel," Pamela announced, brandishing her clipboard like it was a badge. I stayed calm, held up the county survey and state repossession code. Touch that boat and you're trespassing. Touch that dock and you're looking at attempted theft. The tow guy looked at Pamela, looked at me, and said, "Lady, I need a court order for this." He left. Pamela's face was the color of spoiled milk. Did she back down? Nope. She took my recording, chopped it up, posted a sovereign citizen hit piece on Facebook, painting me as a wild-eyed troublemaker. Neighbors got even colder. Then Maya called, tears in her voice. She'd just lost a promotion, thanks to board connections. "They're trying to ruin my career because of your boat, Dad." Guilt, hot and sour, settled in my gut. Maybe I should give up. Maybe I should just let it go. But that night, the county attorney called. "No one's contested your claim. Are you still interested in those parcels?" All the doubt vanished. "Yes, I am." Within weeks, the SB Legacy Trust, Sarah's initials, owned the lakebed and all riparian rights. We kept it quiet, filing for exclusive use zoning. Hired a crew to drop 3 white buoys marking my new property lines. The HOA, oblivious, kept firing off fines. Pamela kept stirring up drama, not knowing she was about to lose her entire kingdom. When the process server delivered certified notices to every board member, I pictured Pamela opening her envelope. "All submerged land and associated rights, now private property. You have 30 days to remove all structures or face commercial fines for trespass." Roy called, barely holding in laughter. Pamela's screaming at the county, "She's cooked." But did she surrender? Nope. Emergency meeting, clubhouse packed, Pamela behind a projector. "This is a baseless claim by a non-compliant homeowner," she intoned, showing photos of my house. I let her rant, then stood up, voice steady. "That's not true, Pamela. You invented Bylaw 7.4. Here's the real covenant." The crowd started to murmur. I handed Roy the deed. He passed it around. "For 20 years, you've been charging dues for lake maintenance. Where did the money go?" "Because the owner never got it." That got the crowd yelling, some folks even standing. Mike puffed up his chest until I called him out for being fired from his old mall cop job. Another neighbor, old vet, pointed at Pamela. "You find a man for honoring his dead wife? My God, have you no shame?" That broke her. She stormed out, board scrambling after her. The crowd broke into applause. For the first time in ages, I felt the weight start to lift. You'd think that'd be the end, but cornered animals bite hard. 2 days later, Pamela tried one last gambit. Hired landscapers to restore the common shoreline, really just dumping fuel and trash on my new property. I watched it all on security cameras, called the EPA and the sheriff. By the time they arrived, there was diesel in the water and Pamela was shrieking about being the real victim. The EPA agent, stone-faced, took names. When Pamela shoved me, right in front of the deputy, he cuffed her on the spot. Trespassing, environmental damage, assault. Fines piled up. The board apologized, wiped my record. Maya got her job back. The story hit the local news, and suddenly our neighborhood was internet famous for taking down a rogue HOA. Last week, Roy and I set a bench at the end of my dock. Brass plaque, hope floats. Every evening, I sit there, coffee in hand, watching the sun slip low over the water, just like Sarah did. Folks wave again. Sometimes they come down, ask about the fight, want to know how I pulled it off. I just shrug and say, sometimes you gotta read the fine print. But here's the thing. Pamela's gone, but the arguments about rules, ownership, and what makes a neighborhood never really end, do they? Maybe you think I went too far. Maybe you think I did what I had to. Let me know what you'd have done. Drop a comment, share your take. Is standing up for yourself always worth the cost? Or does peace sometimes mean letting go? I'll be on the dock, listening.